Welcome back, YouTubers. What we're going to play today is a new game from Paradox Development Studios. Their newest game, Stellaris. Sorry we're getting a little late start on here, but we were one of the people affected by the daily lag bug that was going around, and Paradox just patched it today. So we're up to, they hotfixed it, we're up to 1.01. And it looks like we're getting pretty stable frame rates now, so hopefully the videos will be good and we won't have to wait for another patch. Alright, the game Stellaris, it's like a sci-fi 4X game meets the traditional Paradox Grand Strategy game. It's like if CK2 and EU4 had a space baby. This is what would come out of it. There are elements from both of those two Paradox games, CK2, EU4, with your typical 4X Civ, Alpha Centauri, Galactic Civ, with elements from those types of games thrown in here. Alright, I went ahead and created our race that we're going to play, and I basically decided to play the Big Lebowski in space. So here they are. I pre-created them already, and this is cool. So you could pre-create some other races, and then you just flip the switch. That'll lock it so that they appear in your game. Gray is that any races that you create won't appear randomly in your games, or this is they may or may not appear, but we're actually, the AI can actually use the races you create. But for right now, we're just going to play as them, and we'll do a quick edit just so I could show you how we set them up. Okay. So our appearance is a molluscoid, and I figured this looked most like the dude. Their default color is kind of like this brownish creature. Our leader just happens to be purple, so the brownish creature kind of resembled the dude if the dude was a space alien. Okay, and some of our statistics, our name, we're just a Lebowski, plural Lebowskis, and the adjective, it's like a Lebowskian society. So yeah, I think that pretty much fits. I wasn't sure if I should go Lebowski's IES or just IS, so I went IES. Our name list, we don't have anything pre-created. I just went with the Avian 2 in case we do forget to name a ship or something. I thought the plumage was something that's very dude-like, these names, so we just went with that. But we'll try for the most part to rename everything in the game something to do with the Lebowskis. Traits, we went with Thrifty because the dude definitely does not like to spend money, and we went with Industrious. The dude is able to get Walter and Donny to do things for him, and he did trick Brant into giving him a rug. So yeah, we picked a Thrifty and Industrious. We also picked a Weak. The dude definitely does not like to fight. He's a pacifist, man, and he is definitely sedentary. He does not like to move, and he's basically like a couch potato, except for bowling, but that's like bare minimum exercise. Our ruler, so this is where you can pick the color variants, and then yeah, the typical brown kind of reminds me very dude-like. But once I saw the purple, I assumed our leader had to be the Jesus, for a Jesus Quintana. That creep can roll, man. So that's what we went with. Unfortunately, they didn't have any purple clothes, but I could see the Jesus wearing a toga. So yeah, that's what we'll go with. Our homeworld name is the El Duderino, and a star name, of course, is the Big Lebowski. I figured for the world we start Arid, kind of desert-like, the tumbleweeds and everything. Also, it means our three worlds that we will focus colonizing on first would be Arid, desert, and tundra. They will be our next steps. So we're basically colonizing the harshest planets to Earth compared to Earth, whereas Earth is a continental, they call it, and your two next planets are tropical and ocean world, you know, very blue marbles. And then you have the tundra, and your two steps would be Arctic or Arid. But we're going to go Arid. And our city, we just picked the fungoid city. I figured that looked the coolest. I don't know, kind of got like these green buildings here, whatever. Our government and ethics, we picked the Indiviualist and Fanatic Materialist, because the dude is certainly an individual, and you know, the dude has to, you know, collect things like, you know, his rug and his 8-track and so forth. For our government type, we picked Plutocratic Oligarchy. We get +5 energy credits, +5 minerals. And you can see the Fanatic Materialist gets us +10 for all of our research outputs, and the Individualist gets us +10 for credits. And then go back to traits. What did Thrifty give us? +15% energy credits on planet. So that's like the tiles your guys are working. Same thing with Industrious. That's +15% minerals on the tiles you're actually working, not like anything your space stations are doing. So basically, this build is you know, stacking energy and minerals and you know, research generated from our actual planets. That was the goal of this build. Our empire name is the Little Lebowski Urban Achievers. Our adjective is the Lebowskian Achievers. Our flag, what do we pick? We picked the human symbol. It's kind of like this half peace sign, half smiley face combined with some, you know, dude colors like brown and gray. I figured, you know, if the dude had a symbol, this would be pretty close to him. Our starting weapons, we just picked the simplistic projectile weapons. I figure a lot of playthroughs will be doing missile weapons and like the fancy energy weapons, so I figured it'd be a little different, and we'll go projectiles. FTL methods, I have played a couple games before patch, but they weren't good enough to film because of the stuttering. But I did get to experience warp drive and wormhole travel. Wormhole travel I liked a lot better than warp drive. Warp drive, at least in the beginning, the first like 60-70 years, is extremely slow, and the jumps you make are extremely short. You can basically, you know, only go from one solar system to the next, and you can't like jump over. Wormhole travel, you could jump great distances, so the wormhole is kind of like a Mass Effect relay, if you want to think about you know, that game from BioWare. However, it can create a wormhole in whichever system the wormhole generator is in, and whichever system in its range that you're jumping to. So you don't need like multiple wormhole generators to travel between one and another system. You only need multiple wormhole generators to expand your overall range, and then you basically jump from one wormhole station to the next wormhole station to the planet that you want to go to. So I mean, the wormhole is way quicker than warp travel, and you can kind of cover great distances all at once. So you know, warp travel is basically like your you know, Star Trek. Your wormhole is kind of like Mass Effect, and then hyperspace travel is kind of like your Star Wars travel, right? You know, what's the saying go? Travel in hyperspace ain't like dusting crops, boy. So hyperspace is most likely the fastest travel in between planets themselves. Super fast right away. I haven't even tried any of the upgraded hyperspace engines yet. I basically played like 15 minutes with the hyperspace engaged. However, what hyperspace does, and we'll show you once the game boots up, you basically have another layer on the map that shows you all of the hyperspace lanes that you can travel, and you're forced to travel in those directions. So hyperspace might be problematic if you're at war and you're trying to get through enemy territory, or if you're scaling, because there might only be one way in, one way out, whereas the wormhole gives you flexibility once you build it on the edge. But you know, wormhole, then you kind of have to protect your wormholes during battle, where the enemy can just try to, you know, at least a player can try to target your wormhole generators, and if they get them out, you ain't doing any type of traveling. Or you just knock out the closest wormhole generator to your system, and basically, you know, they might be able to jump in their system, but they're not getting to your system. So all three methods have pros and cons. Warp travel, basically you can travel anywhere you want, but at least for the first 75 years it is slow, and I don't want to deal with it, so we were going to give hyperspace a shot. In our ship appearance, we just picked the Molluscoid ships. You know, this kind of looks like the dude's car. You know, it's like brown, green with rust spots all over, so that's what we went with. Alright, yes, we'll resave it. Done. Alright, now let's set up our galaxy. I think for the first game we were going to play small. Maybe not. Tiny does look a little tiny. We probably want more AI empires than that. Let's go small. We'll reduce the empires to like 8. And yeah, we'll leave advanced AI starts 3, so 3 out of the 8 empires will be advanced, and that's the advanced AI starts. I don't believe counts the fallen empires that Stellaris basically has. So there should be at least like 4 really hard enemies out of 8. Galaxy shape, we'll pick elliptical for right now. Once we expand, we'll probably go to like spiral 2 or 4 arms, kind of like how the Milky Way is in real life. We won't even do Iron Man this game. We'll leave that off, since this campaign most likely we'll try to be a short one for our first campaign. All right, let's load it up. Okay, in the eons since the first primitive Lebowski communities took shape in the dry canyons and messes of El Duderino, our civilization has spread out and prospered. As scientific knowledge increased and new outposts were founded across our world, trade flourished and tied the various nation-states together until they became a single entity. Power rested with the merchant princes, the true architects of our achievements as a civilization. Now, after the discovery of the Hyperlane network, the finest minds of the little Lebowski urban achievers have finished development of the first hyperdrives. The stars themselves are finally within our grasp. Alright, here is the Big Lebowski solar system. So the first thing we're going to have to do is send our signed ship and do some surveying. But the very first thing we'll have to do is some renaming of all of our leaders and our ships. Get some Lebowski names in here. But let me zoom out and show you guys the hyperlane. So this is what the elliptical galaxy looks like. Here's the galaxy center that you can't really go through. Typically you can't warp. Your warp won't be far enough, and sometimes your wormhole generators, like if you had a wormhole generator here, you could probably reach like up to here like in one jump. But it's, no matter what FTL method you have, it's very hard to get around this center. Now the hyperlanes are probably the worst for the getting around the center, because basically, you know, you have one way in and one way out, and you can see for here the whole right side of our galaxy, the only way to get across is this one road here. So if there was an enemy here, all they would have to do is put their fleet here and just camp it, and we would be completely cut off. Now yeah, we can get up here pretty easily, but yeah, this starting position isn't, unless there's some nice planets around here, might not necessarily be the best, because it is very hard to get to the right side of the galaxy. But yeah, that is what the hyperspace lanes look like, and that's basically all I wanted to do this episode for the little Lebowski urban achievers. We'll just give you guys the overview of the race that we're playing, who we're modeling ourselves after, and what our galaxy looks like. And then we'll pick up next episode. See you guys then.